Hello. So, oh, wow. It's not, okay. Oh, it's like, wait a second, something's weird. Um, well, I realized that I have been doing a lot of videos lately. But since it is New Year's Eve, I was thinking to myself that, I just wanted to reflect on the year, and especially in light of, I was inspired by the vlog that X Celeste actually posted um with her celebrating Christmas and reflecting on uh guy on the guys, and uh she showed a daily vlog about like how her day would go, and her and it really like inspired me actually to do this vlog actually. Um, so 2022 had a lot of changes, um and a lot of things up and down, and it doesn't exactly actually feel like a year. It feels like, I don't know if anyone else has felt this way, but this year in general, at least for me, feels like it was maybe like 2 to 3 years in one year. Maybe it was because a lot of things happened that feels that way, because in my brain I'm thinking, like, oh yeah, like this long, as like, wait a second, like that happened earlier this year. And I thought that a lot because um to help with like reflecting on the year, I actually rewatched the BTS Army documentary that I was involved with earlier this year, and my brain was thinking, wait, that was earlier this year. Like, it literally feels like, because I guess there's been so many things going on personally, and it was just a lot to reflect on, and in order to get my thoughts together, I was like, okay, let's you know reflect a little bit without just pushing it away, because uh I keep saying, and also I was watching past vlogs, because like I've said before, I um post these in order to show, how I've progressed in my therapy. I call this therapy, uh, since this has helped me in terms of progress and learning how to um, be confident to myself, in terms of actually talking and vocalizing my thoughts, and in general, other parts, uh, and everything. And also showing and not experiencing, um, just putting out there some of my thoughts in terms of like BTS, music in general, um, and just organizing my thoughts, and that's why I find it therapy. And I realized that I've been putting certain things to the side because if I don't want to talk about it, or if in general. So here it goes. This conversation might get a little deep, so I'm gonna warn you. um, so this year has been a little bit crazy, and one of the things that X Celeste had said in her vlog was about how she's never really been the same since June, when uh, the guys had announced that they were uh, going to focus on their solos and take a temporary break from group activities. And it was, and one of the things that they had mentioned, they, I'm used to saying they, um, that Celeste had mentioned, and she had shown a clip of her talk with the Army Help Center about it's because we experience like this because we feel like we in our hearts we know that they're not in a sense there because things are pre-recorded, and we know they're pre-recorded because that they're doing military service, or their civic duty in general, because people like with when Jin when they showed his enlistment ceremony, I called that I don't, and yeah, I've been thinking to myself like, how am I processing that? And I say it like that because I try to like put it past. I I've been trying really hard to not think about it, because I know that that's something that they are proud, and it's their civic duty, and a lot of people have like different notions about that, and I'm thinking about it from their point of view, being like they don't they don't see themselves as any different, and that's just how they've always been, and that is, I guess, one of the reasons why I've been able to digest missing them, because BTS isn't BTS without all seven, and going through the motions with listening to Indigo, putting the astronaut on repeat as I'm dealing with all this, because I was rewatching the documentary earlier, because I just was reflecting on the year, and it was it was an eye-opening experience because honestly, I never thought that I never so I knew the impact that they've had on me. It's but um seeing that and how far I've come in my journey, being like my self journey, and sorry, I got a notification. I got confused. Um, I just have been like thinking to myself, it's like, okay, well, this and that, and understanding myself and putting things more in motion rather than just relying on things in a way, relying more on things that they've said and then their actions and how they explore things rather than just them. Because I still remember when I found out and I was watching it, and I remember thinking to myself that, you know, of course I was more worried about them, um, needing to take a break and everything. And I don't want to, I mean, like, that's not something I want to just repeat and talk about because I'll just keep talking in circles. So I'm trying to speed up this part of my discussion for that reason because I will. Uh, but and I knew that um because I remember exactly when that dropped and everything, and my first thought was I remember going to make sure that I was going to be there at Lollapalooza. That was like one of my. I already wanted to go to Lollapalooza. I had a hard enough time, in a way, going to LA and Las Vegas for BTS because that was a lot of people. But in my mind, I was going to see a BTS concert with fellow armies who understand um, in a on different wavelengths how much they mean to us, how much they with them, and that had like made me do like this. It felt like that, like, but not in a condescending way, but it's more like we get it, we understand. You don't have to say it out loud. But Lollapalooza was a little bit different. Because in my mind, um, I had to be like, okay, like I had never gone to a festival by myself before. Wow, my hair. Sorry. I just saw this. Um, but I had never gone to a festival by myself before. I was just like, you know, and it was something that but in my heart, in my mind, I was just like, I wanted to be there to support Hobie no matter what. Like, my decision was clear in my mind after I watched Festa. I was like, no matter what, I am going to be there. I probably wasn't going to like full force uh be at like Lollapalooza in general in terms of, besides Hobie. I do remember though that I was a bit like meh because I actually wanted to be there for TXT too. And because TXT is the only, and I actually can say this, is one of the few other K-pop groups that I've actually been really drawn to. And it actually has nothing to do with, I'm okay. It partially has something to do with you know, the brotherly connection between TXT and BTS. However, it's also because since TXT is under the same like family of like how they um portray things and everything, like the Big Hit family. So I got more curious, and uh, and that's what drew me into like that world. But because Hobie and TXT were on 2 different days, and I only had the the finances to go for just one day instead of two, I just decided, of course, no matter what, I was going to go see Hobie. So I just watched TXT's performance after the fact, when after I had landed um in Chicago. So, but it was an entirely different experience going to Lollapalooza. And I remembered because I was talking to other people, and they um were asking me a little bit of questions about BTS because it was very clear that I was there for them, for Hobie, and I was spreading the knowledge about J Hope. And what was interesting though was since I was wearing all my bracelets, they're in a box I made actually nearby my TV. But had all their names, had all different names for each one on each seven. So I was wearing 7 bracelets, and they're like, well, they found that so like nice because it looks like I was supporting uh all 7 while I was there to see Hobie. And I made it a point in terms of my wardrobe, in terms of the things that I was wearing, because uh it's like, you know Hobie, we love you. um Okay, but I didn't, like, one of the things though, I didn't realize until, recently about, uh, how I've been feeling and processing everything, until, I, until it was, obvious when it's kind of like this. When someone else puts into words what you didn't know you were feeling, and, um, kind of hit me. And that's what I felt when I was watching that vlog, because I was just like, and one of the questions there were, she was writing because she was working on a thing of like, one of the questions that she was writing for a journal where it's like, stuff. The question was, what makes you happy? And the first thing that came in her mind was BTS. And honestly, that has become me. And how a lot of her, not a lot of her, in general for me, like, I don't watch a lot of things that much anymore that's not BTS related. Like, I watch game shows, and I watch, some, like, light-hearted, um, like, romantic comedy movies, because that's one of the things that my mother likes to watch. And, I would be lying if I say that I didn't like it as well. But besides that, a lot of things I watch on my own is like BTS related, and sometimes I will watch like 3, 4 reactions of the exact same thing of different reactors, one after the other. And lately, for a couple times, I watched, uh, newer, at least to me, reactors watch, uh, the guide to Bangtan 7. And I like it when the reactors, actually pause the video and they read it and then they give their commentary, and because sometimes you can see, you can kind of feel what a reactor's thought process is. And I appreciate that. Um, mm, People are doing fireworks and I'm trying to ignore it. I can gear up my brain for fireworks when it comes to a show and things like that, but on a day-to-day basis, I don't do fireworks very well. I start to panic and I start to want to go somewhere and hide. And I start to, panic and have an anxiety attack. This is probably part one. I'm probably going to separate this in probably 2 videos, because yeah, this is going to be interesting to, post in terms of how long it's going to be to get this up there. But I really want to, so part one. If you want to watch part two, I'm going to go a little bit more in detail in part two about, some of my thoughts and